They're kidding themselves. I'm going to win. I think I'm going to win. You know, I'm not one of these other guys that goes down. I don't go down. I go up.
Do you have a warning for GOP leaders?
I say, folks, you know, I'm sorry I did this to you, but you got to get used to it. It's one of those little problems in life.
Heard it here first. Donald Trump is vowing to win the presidency, starting with the state of Iowa. But our brand new Fox polls show he might be headed for a fight, at least in Iowa. Ted Cruz right now is trumping Trump in our latest poll of GOP likely caucus goers come February. So is the Donald in trouble? Ian Pryor, communications director for American Crossroads, and radio talk show host Garland Nixon for a fair and balanced debate. So we have this latest Fox News poll, gentlemen. We also have the Des Moines Register poll, which shows a much bigger margin between Ted Cruz and Donald Trump. Cruz, I think, up by 10. Ian, is this an aberration, or are we starting to see a trend here of Trump failing in a place like Iowa?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I think we've been waiting for that for 6 months now, and he continues to stay strong. One of the interesting things from the poll, though, that I saw is that the not just the likely caucus goers, but the people that are definitely going to the Iowa caucus, Cruz's lead starts to expand. So if Donald Trump is going to win Iowa, and I really do believe he has to win either Iowa or New Hampshire in order to keep on going at this pace, he's going to have a strong ground game, a strong organization in Iowa. And right now, conventional wisdom would suggest that Cruz has the advantage there.
Garland?
Well, I think if we look at the last couple races, we see that Mike Huckabee won. We see that Rick Santorum won. I don't think the Trump camp is really overly concerned about winning Iowa. I don't know that they even expect to. And if you start looking after that into New Hampshire and into South Carolina, Florida, they get back into double-digit leads.
Interesting. In terms of Iowa, if Cruz wins Iowa, it certainly, to your point, he may not win the nomination, but it certainly gives him bragging rights going into New Hampshire, changes the conversation a little bit. Donald Trump is no longer inevitable or is no longer only the highest guy in the polls. Is he peaking a little bit too early, Ian, you think?
Well, you know, it's difficult to tell with Donald Trump because all rules seem to be off the table when it comes to this campaign. One of the things I do think we need to look at is after Iowa. Let's say Cruz were to win Iowa. Trump's next challenge could very well come from Chris Christie in New Hampshire. His fave is going through the roof right now in the Granite State, and there's a recent poll showing that he's pulled into second place.
Made it onto the main stage in the CNN debate, those kinds of things.
Right, and he could end up having a Bill Clinton 1992 moment where even if he doesn't win New Hampshire, he could get the momentum that puts him in that conversation of Cruz, Trump, Rubio.
Interesting as you see this play out now between Cruz and Trump, specifically in Iowa, because it's obviously the first caucus state, first time we're going to get results that actually matter. We had this détente between the two of them for a while, that they both said nice things about each other. Cruz never beat up on Trump over some of his more controversial comments. And now, as we just heard from Kristen Fisher, Fox News Sunday, Donald Trump says Ted Cruz is like a maniac and ends his soundbite with, "That's a problem with Ted." That sounds like the peace treaty's torn up.
It's game on. Yeah, there was a peace treaty between Donald Trump and Ben Carson for a little while, and that got blown out of the water pretty quickly by Donald Trump once Carson started to rise and become the quasi-front-runner. So it is game on with Cruz and Trump, and it is going to be fascinating to see how they go after each other in this week's debate.
You said all of a sudden you're getting some Donald Trump supporters on the radio calling in.
In fact, well, from going on Fox regularly, but they're calling in, and from the sound of things...
We're glad we can help you out.
Yeah, I guess I'll consider that help. Have more listeners. But at any rate, I just don't see the core support for Donald Trump, which seems to be pretty much all of it, doesn't seem like they'll go much of anywhere. And I don't think, from what I'm hearing...
They may not go much of anywhere, but are they going to actually go to the caucus in Iowa? Is there enough of an organization to get all those folks out to the caucuses on a cold February night?
I don't think so. I don't think Trump wins Iowa. I really don't see a way that he wins Iowa based on the history of Iowa. But he has to win one of the two, because the nominee always wins one of the two if he doesn't win one of the two. And I think the New Hampshire race is important because that's the establishment's, to me, that's their last stand. They have to really do well there, or else it may be game over.
As we look at, we have one other poll to put up, which is who is the most likely to beat Hillary Clinton. And the poll obviously assumes that she is going to be the eventual nominee. Among likely GOP caucus goers, they say Trump is the most likely to beat Hillary Clinton. Cruz coming in pretty far down the list, second with only 18%. Are caucus goers in Iowa, Ian, and you spent time studying these folks, are they concerned about who they like, or are they concerned about who they think is going to eventually win?
I think right now they're concerned with the person that's speaking most to their values. I think whether somebody can win or not is not going to be the #1 priority for caucus goers. I do think it's interesting, though, that they think Trump is the better candidate to go against Clinton. And I think we've all sort of underestimated Trump's staying power. And I wouldn't be surprised if he were to be the nominee. I wouldn't be surprised to see Hillary Clinton underestimate him as well. And she has been recently, and there were recent stories about how, well, she's now starting to take him seriously.
Last word very quickly.
Well, I don't think after what happened in 2008 that Hillary Clinton's going to be underestimating anyone.
There's not much learned in the second kick of a mule.
Exactly.
All right, Garland, Ian, appreciate your guys' insights. Thank you very much.
Thank you.